high noon. Glad to see you all here today, so let's just get started. This is our presentation on Apple Mail. So this is Go for Lunch for May the 30th, 2023. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I am Roger Harmon, your host, and we are here to make your technology work for you. So this is our Memorial Day edition, where we remember the men and women who died to maintain our lifestyle of freedom. So Apple Mail. So we have a little story here. So recently I was helping a client get rid of some of her mail in her inbox that she didn't need anymore. And I referred her to a previous presentation of Go for Lunch. In fact, it was streamed live on June the 6th, 2020, so almost 3 years ago. So it was number 6, Go for Lunch number 6, and we are about 160 now as of today, and it looks something like this. Now, I'm not sure who that guy is there, but it was about taming your Mac mail. So I discovered when I reviewed this presentation that the information in there was outdated because Apple has changed the way that you do a sort, which is one of the key ways we're going to talk about to manage your mail. And welcome, Chris. So that is our story. So Apple Mail is a free program that comes in macOS, iOS, and for your iPhone and your iPad, and on iCloud.com. So everywhere you are, Apple Mail is there. So one way to deal with your mail is to unsubscribe. Now you want to only use this when you are dealing with a reputable company. So if you have any doubt about a company, thinking that, well, maybe they're going to unsubscribe me, but then they're going to turn around and sell my email address to somebody else, we'll talk about a way to handle that. But for reputable companies, you will sometimes, not always, find in the upper right area of your email an unsubscribe button. So you just click on that and the rest is taken care of you. Now, if you don't see that in the upper right hand corner, the unsubscribe button, then usually at the bottom of the message is an unsubscribe link similar to this. It may have some different language. It might say your email preferences or something similar, and it's always going to, this is enlarged. It's always going to be in very small type, and you're going to have to really squint probably to see it, but by federal law it should be there. Now some companies, which would come under the category of unreputable companies, don't put that down there. So to deal with them, what you would want to do is move them to junk. So if you're not too sure about the quality of a company that you're dealing with, move it to junk. Don't delete it, move it to junk. So the way you do that is up in your top part of your mail message, you'll see a little icon that's supposed to look like a wastebasket with an X on it. So it's right up there on top, and here's what it actually looks like. So you want to put it into junk. You don't want to delete it. You can also use the keyboard shortcut, which is Shift, Command, and J, and that will put it right into junk. You don't have to move your mouse at all. So you probably are wondering, well, what do I do with this junk once I put it in there? Well, you can put that on autopilot. So when you're in the mail program, you click on the word mail in the upper left-hand corner, and then you click on preferences, or if you're running Ventura, it would now say settings. Then you click on accounts, then you click on mailbox behaviors, and then you click on erase junk messages, and then you select after 1 month. This also applies to trash. So this way, when you select after 1 month, that gives you a little leeway in case something went into junk or you trash something that you need to recover. So you have 30 days leeway there, so you can get those back if you need them. But if you don't need them, then they will automatically be deleted after 30 days. You don't have to worry about it. So here's the crux of our message today: sorting your mail messages. Now, in older versions of the Mac OS, that would be macOS 10.13, High Sierra or older, the way you sorted was in the second column of your email program. I'm sorry that this is a little blurry when I blew it up. It says sort by date. So you click on that, and then you have these other options, which we will talk about. So normally it would be sort by date. So if you are in High Sierra or older, this is the way you do it. But chances are you are running Mojave or newer, and the change is that now you go to the View menu up on your menu bar where it says View, then you slide down to Sort By, and then you would click on your criteria here. So normally it's going to be date and newest message on top. That's what you normally want to see. But you can see here you have other criteria such as from, size, subject, unread, remind me, which is a new feature we've talked about recently, and send later, another new feature. So you can choose any of those criteria to help you sort through your mail. So the reason we want to sort through the mail is to get rid of messages that are cluttering up our inboxes. So we would do that by a first pass by date and then a second pass by from. So let's see what that looks like. So here we are in our mail program. So our first pass, now we would go up here to View, Sort By, date is already checked. So we would, to do the first pass by date, we would want the oldest messages on top. So this way we could just get rid of anything that's maybe, a year old or 2 years old or 3 years old. And we would just click on these, and I'll show you how to select them here in a minute. So that's the first pass, is to get rid of really old messages. And probably you don't even have to look at those. You can just get rid of all of them because they're so old they don't matter anymore. So the second way to do it is by from. So we're going to go back here to View, Sort By. We're going to go back to newest message on top. Okay, and so we're going to find a message from a certain sender that we want to get rid of. So let's do this one I've already selected here, JV Zoo. So here's JV Zoo. Now this can be confusing here. You notice it says top hits. So these first two are the top hits. They came in today, but they're repeated here under all results. So don't let that throw you. So first thing we want to do is we want to unsubscribe to JV Zoo. So you can see here that the unsubscribe button is visible right here. And if it wasn't, then we would go down here, and now you can see in the very small type it says unsubscribe. So since we're right here, we're going to click on unsubscribe. And so normally there's going to be some kind of an option here to unsubscribe from everything. So we're going to unsubscribe from everything by clicking from all lists. And then you should get some confirmation that you have successfully unsubscribed. Now, some companies don't do this correctly, and you don't get you get a blank page or an error page. So then you're going to want to put that message into junk because they are not following the rules. Okay. So I'm seeing here that you can't see that message, so let me switch over here to Safari. There we go. So this is the message that you got, that you successfully unsubscribed. So you should get some kind of acknowledgement. If you don't, again, you want to put those messages in junk, because that is probably an unreputable company. So let's go back to Mail. And so now what we're going to do is, now that we have, there we go. So now that we have unsubscribed from JVZoo, we want to get rid of all these old messages. Now, since we did a search here, everything here in this second section of your mail program is from JVZoo. So we would do a single click at the first message, and then we would take our elevator, which is this little oval icon here, down all the way to the bottom of the scroll bar. And then we would do what we call a shift click. So I'm going to demonstrate that here. Now, normally you would do this with your right hand on the left hand, no, I'm sorry, your left hand on the left hand shift key. But so I can show you the mouse and the shift key at the same time, I'm doing it on the right hand shift key. So a shift click is you put the cursor on the bottom message right here, and then you hold down the shift key and you click on the left side of your mouse, and then all the messages from the top to the bottom are selected. You can also start at the bottom and do a single click, and then go up to the top and do the shift click. So now what we would do is we would hit the delete key. So we're going to just hit the delete key, and as we go back here to mail, you will notice that we have deleted 1,100 messages. And so you don't have to click here. When you're doing this and you got a lot of messages, just get in the habit of hitting delete, which would get rid of those messages that were highlighted, and then just immediately when this dialog box comes up, you hit return, and they are gone. So now you notice here we still have our search criteria, and now these are all in trash. So now I'll release my search criteria by hitting the little X in the upper right hand corner, and now I'm going to take the elevator, which is at the very bottom, and just scroll it up to the very top. So now we're back up to date. Okay, so that's a way that we can get rid of messages. Another way, if you don't want to unsubscribe, you just want to get rid of excess messages, but you still want to receive them from that sender. Let's looks like my computer is still working on those 1,100 messages, so we'll give it a few seconds here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to view, and then I'm going to sort by from, and first I'm going to select the message that I want to get rid of all the previous messages from that sender. Okay, so it looks like it's done with those 1,100 up. We still have the beach ball of death here. So I'm going to take a chance and click there. No, that didn't work. So it does take a while when you have over 1,000 messages for the mail program. You'll notice down here it says moving messages, and it says 501 of 1,099. and that 501 is not changing. You can see here we have a blue progress bar that is not progressing. So that's the way it works when you get a big bunch of messages. So the moral to that story is you may want to select a smaller portion of your messages at a time and not get into this situation where the computer is not catching up with you. So I think we are going to, we'll check back. So if you have a question on this process, put it in the comments and we will come back at the end and see if it has moved all those messages. So while we're talking about mail, let's talk about searching. I've noticed sometimes when a client is trying to find a mail, they just scroll through their messages instead of searching. So there's a search box in Mail in the upper right hand corner, and there's a keyboard shortcut for that. It's Option Command F, as in find. And then once you're inside a message, if you have a long message, you can use Command F to search within that email message. And this Command F also works on web pages. So if you have a long web page, you can search in there with Command F. Okay. So in the last several versions of the Mac operating system and iOS, they have improved the searching capabilities in your various Mac operating systems. So by default, when you do a search, it will search for all your mailboxes. So one way to narrow your search is to select the mailbox in the sidebar where you think that message you're looking for is located. Another way is to do a natural language search. So you can put in a natural statement like image attachments from Jeff or birthday party invitation from Mary. So you can just kind of explain what you're looking for, and the Apple Mail should be able to find it for you. Now this doesn't always work, but it's getting better. So give it a shot. You may have to play with your actual wording here to get those natural language searches to work. Okay, so if you haven't already, please type any questions in the comments field or comments, and we will get to those in just a second. And be so kind as to share the GoFor Gazette with other people you know that use Apple devices, and give us that thumbs up, that like, so YouTube will make this presentation available to other people that we can help use their Mac. So let's see what we have here. Bob says that on that website that the guy was either Santa Claus or Yosemite Sam. And F as in find, Kurt reminds us. So let me check here while we're waiting and see if Mail has caught up. And it looks like it has. No, yeah, it's caught up. It's downloading a new mail that just is coming in. So if you have any questions about sorting mail that I didn't cover in the demonstration, well, let me just go back and show you the one thing I was trying to show you. So here we are back in Mail. So let's find Harbor Freight. Okay, there's Harbor Freight. So I'm going to erase the, I'm going to click on one of them. So select the first one. I'm going to get rid of the criteria, and so Harbor Freight is down here somewhere. Here we go. So now I'm going to, because I don't want to unsubscribe, I just want to get rid of all the excess Harbor Freight messages. So I'm going to go to my menu bar, click on View, click on Sort By, come straight across, click on From, and now all the Harbor Freight messages will appear next to each other. So then I'm going to do a regular click on the first one. Then I'm going to put my cursor in the scroll bar below the elevator, and I'm just going to do 8 clicks. Well, we'll do 9 clicks or so we won't clog up the system. So then at the bottom message, I hold down my Shift key, usually with my left finger. That selects everything in between. I hit the Delete key, and then I hit the Return key. So that's how I can clear out. And then if I can, then I can just do this over again and not get 1,100 messages. So if you click 8 times, you won't get the, I think I've clicked about 8 times. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to click, hit the Delete key. No, that was more than 8 times. So that was 126 messages. Hit Return key to select Delete. And so you can see I'm done with Harbor Freight. I'm down here in this company that sells these interesting shirts. So I could do the same thing here. I could go up and I could get rid of Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Sunday, Happy New Year. So now if I just click 8 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I shift click on the bottom one, hit the Delete key, and you can see I didn't get that dialog box. So that's the way I normally do it, so I don't take up too big a bite at one time and get into that beach ball situation. So there we have it. So Chris says he has been a big fan of InfoClick for years. It's an external indexer for mail, and it can find anything. I use it all the time. I think it started out in FileMaker. I'm not sure if it moved or not. So InfoClick was delivered by Nisus Software, one of the very early innovative Mac developers. So very good. Okay, thanks to Chris. So you might want to look up InfoClick. And Bob has another tip here. So if you do hold down the Option key and click in the elevator bar, it will move the elevator car to that point. So that could be useful also in getting rid of excess mail. So very good. Thanks, Chris and Bob, for those tips. Appreciate that. So if you think of any topic that you would like me to cover on Go for Lunch, please email me or give me a call, and that information will be coming up here shortly. So if there are no more questions, thanks for the 2 thumbs up. We will see you next week on Tuesday at high noon. So have a great rest of your week.